Hello everyone, I hope this finds you guys doing well. So this week we are talking about sexual harassment. So I think working at ACS, it's not a difficult subject to talk about because it is something that comes up a lot with the SHARP program that is there, which is the Army's sexual assault prevention and response program. So the program manager, and she's right down the hall from me, and we have to attend the trainings and things that she does. So um, it's something that's openly talked about and is a part of sort of the everyday work environment. So in this particular placement, I feel like talking about sexual harassment is pretty easy to do because it's a part of the culture. It's a very common thing that is dealt with and talked about. So, in that sense, I think if something were to happen in the agency regarding sexual assault or sexual harassment, um, it would be pretty easy to bring it up and talk about it and report it and not have any issue with that. And I think that people, because it is a part of the culture and so much a part of the agency, that the people that are working there might be less likely to sexually harass others because they know specifically what the ramifications are of that action. And this is kind of what my understanding was. And then I was told about an incident, a couple of different incidents that happened within the ACS where I am that did involve sexual harassment. And it did start a dialogue and a discussion, and amongst all of the different people that are working there, all the different programs that are run out of ACS. So that was really interesting because we have a lot of different generational differences because the age range is so large there. So we have some younger people, in their 20s, and then it goes all the way up to people in their 60s. So I don't want to say that all people in the older generation are more likely to do this behavior, but it in this conversation, a lot of the things that were being said were sort of almost sounding like excuses for people because of the generation that they come from. And that to me was shocking because of course, I have a zero tolerance for anything that could be construed as sexual harassment, and I hope that my colleagues and the people that are doing this kind of work have that same feeling, and I do think that most people do. But there were definitely a few things that were said that were surprising to me because it basically was that these little comments didn't mean anything, or they were innocent. That when they were younger, these kinds of things weren't a big deal to be said, and you could get away with these things, and they just haven't adjusted to how society doesn't accept that kind of behavior anymore, or there's ramifications for your actions when you behave that way. So it's hard for me to imagine a time period where women and men were not protected against people that did harass, but I guess that was the way that it was something that happened more often and was more accepted and not reported as much, even, as recently as 20, 30 years ago. So I was shocked to hear that those kinds of excuses were still being made and that argument was even thought to be valid. So that was pretty interesting. And eye-opening. So as much as I thought ACS would be a safe place from that, apparently there are still those little things that happen that shouldn't. And luckily, everything was reported and dealt with in the proper way. Um, but still amazing to hear that it happens, even in an agency that is protecting people from that very thing. So I think for me, it's easy to talk about. I feel pretty strongly about it. I think it'll be easy to talk to clients about it. So I don't look at it as being a problem because I have a very black and white view of it. Thank you. I look forward to hearing you guys' videos.